Bluetooth communications for motorcyclists is getting very interesting.
This video is sponsored by Cruiseman's Garage Honda Goldwing Maintenance Video Series.
Thank you, Don, and welcome back to Cruiseman's Garage. I'm Cruiseman, and today we're going to talk about something very exciting, and that's the brand new Sena 60S Bluetooth communicator. This is their new top-of-the-line Bluetooth communicator. And today we're going to take a deep dive and take a look at all the features that are in this new Sena 60S. And we're going to basically try to answer the question, what makes it so special? What's unique about it? What's different? What's different over the previous top of the line, which is the Sena 50S, the one I've got here. I'll give you a little bit of background. First of all, Sena's not sponsoring the video. They're not paying me to make the video, but just as a disclaimer, they did send me this 60S to test and review and use on my helmet. I have been using a Sena 50S for many years, ever since it first came out. Before that, I was using the 20S. I've used their 10C. I've used the 50C, the camera with the communicator built in. Very familiar with Sena products. One of the things I will say right up front, that if you are currently a Sena user, you're going to be very comfortable with using this new 60S because they haven't really changed the interface very much. It pretty much works. You'll be very comfortable. You'll go right into it. You'll know exactly how to make it work, and I think that's a good thing. They didn't make a lot of changes just for the sake of change. So let's take a quick look at what comes inside the box when you purchase the new 60S. When you lay everything out on the table, you can see you get quite a bit of stuff in the Sena 60S kit. Of course, you get the 60S communicator itself, and they also give you 3 additional face plates and jog dials that can be replaced depending on your color preference. One is black, one is silver, and one is sort of a black chrome, as well as the white, which I put on my communicator to match my helmet. You also get a selection of Velcro pads for mounting speakers and or the microphone in your helmet. You get a clamp style magnetic mount with a boom mic built in, which is really perfect for mounting to a 3/4 helmet, even though I'm using it on my modular helmet. Sena also includes a second clamp style magnetic mount, which will accept the wired boom microphone. Really a better solution for mounting to a flip face modular helmet. And of course, if you have a full face helmet, you'll want to use this small microphone that mounts to the inside of the chin bar on your full face helmet. Now, just in case your helmet won't accept the clamp style mount, you can always use this adhesive mount. And they even throw in some extra pre-cut adhesive strips. Now, if you'd rather listen to music with earbuds instead of the built-in speakers, you can use this earbud adapter. And of course, Sena includes not 1, but 2 sets of these Harman Kardon high-definition speakers, which I can tell you are super clean. And you get the little spacers to put them closer to your ears if you need these in your helmet. Let's talk about the ergonomics and the design of the new 60S. First of all, it's a very slim, compact unit. It's, I think, a little bit smaller and a little bit more compact than the 50S. The unit has the recognizable Sena jog dial here with the button in the center. You've also got the switch on the back here, the little button on the back. And you have your mesh button up here at the very front on the side. All of these, I think, are easy to find even with gloves on. The antenna is just like it was on the 50S. The only thing is you push it in as opposed to pull it out to deploy the antenna for the mesh antenna. Now, one thing you'll notice different about the 60S is when you turn it on, you get a couple of different LEDs. You have your status LED down here, and then you've got this other kind of, I call it a decorative LED. They have a name for it. It kind of changes colors, and you can modify this in the app to have different colors. And honestly, I don't really know what purpose it serves. This is the main LED right here that's telling you what's going on with the unit. Now, they've also added a little utility flashlight on the front of the unit, and I'm thinking that the purpose of that would be, say you are at night, you get off your motorcycle, you drop your keys on the ground, you're looking for them, and you need a little flashlight. I suppose you could use that. I doubt that I would ever use it because I'd probably forget it's even there. Now, just like the 50S, the 60S has USB-C charging, and the USB-C allows it to charge very rapidly. I think the unit only takes an hour and a half to fully charge. It's pretty impressive. Of course, there is a rubber flap to cover that USB-C port. And that brings me to probably the most important new design update for this 60S, and that is this is now IPX7 rated to be waterproof. This has been a concern for a lot of you riders out there for a long time. I know a lot of guys have purchased other brand like Cardo, which does claim to be waterproof. Well, now, and they've avoided Sena because of that. Well, now you don't have to worry about it. This is now IPX7 rated as waterproof. I think that is going to be a huge selling point. And of course, to me, one of the coolest features as far as the design is this new magnetic mounting system. And it is very easy to find, much easier than the older mounting system on the helmets. You basically just get close to it and it just snaps right in place. It's very easy to deploy, very easy to remove, and that's one of the best features of this new 60S. Now, when we get into the area of looks, you can change these face plates to different colors. They give you 3 or 4 different colors in the kit, and you can also change the color of the jog dial. You can see I've changed mine to white, and I went ahead and popped mine off. It's very easy to do. You basically just pop the faceplate off, pop a new one on. I'm sure some of the manufacturers are going to come out with their own, like Honda will have their own faceplate. Maybe there'll be one with a Goldwing logo. I don't know. You never know. But it's aesthetically, it makes it a little personal. I put the white one on because I have a white helmet, and I think it kind of looks better that way. So let's talk about the communication capabilities of this new Sena 60S. The Sena 60S has Bluetooth version 5.3. It also has the latest version of Sena Mesh, which is 3.0. And it also has the ability to use the new Wave technology when it comes out. We'll talk more about Wave technology here in just a little bit. But the Mesh 3.0, the important thing to understand is it can only communicate with other devices that have Mesh 3.0. However, in the app, you can turn that off and it will then go back to Mesh 2.0, so that if you're riding with other riders who have earlier versions of Sena headsets that only have Mesh 2.0, you'll still be able to communicate with them using the 2.0. Now, Sena has told me that the 50S and the 50R, as well as my Impulse helmet, will soon be upgraded to have Mesh 3.0. Don't know when that's going to be, but that would allow you to use this new mesh technology with the 60S. Now, Sena has also increased the volume levels by 8 decibels of this new unit. Now, 4 of those decibels come from some new Harman Kardon speakers, high definition Harman Kardon speakers that come with the 60S. And another 4 decibels comes from the actual firmware in the unit. And from what I understand, that firmware, when it's updated on the 50S will get that additional 4 decibels of volume. So what is Mesh 3.0 and what is the advantage to Mesh 3.0? Well, supposedly you get stronger connections, better connectivity, clearer communications. I have not had the opportunity yet to actually test Mesh 3.0 because this is the only Mesh 3.0 device I have in my possession right now. I'm hoping to get my hands on another one so that Dale and I or another rider and I can do some testing with the Mesh 3.0 system, and I can report back later how it actually is different and better. Now, of course, with mesh technology, you have 2 different setups. You can do open mesh, which means, and there's 6 different channels, defaults to channel 1, and when you turn it on, you turn on open mesh. Basically, any rider that's in your area, in your proximity, if they have open mesh turned on, you will be, and they're on the same channel as you, you'll be able to instantly communicate. There's no pairing required. You can also set up a group mesh for up to 24 participants, which might be a little ambitious, but the technology will support it. And basically, this just prevents people that are using open mesh from entering the group without your permission. So what about wave technology? Well, wave technology is something new that Sena will be soon introducing, and basically it's going to eliminate the range anxiety, you might say, of where you can't communicate with other riders based on how far away they are. It's going to be basically voice over IP, so that any communicator that can connect to a smartphone and has a cell phone connection would be able to join a communication group. So that technically would mean, regardless of what brand communicator a rider has, if you're using the Wave app on your phone and you connect to that app, you'll be able to set up a group for this Wave rider group, and it could be somebody in another state. It could be somebody 55 miles down the road, and you'd still be able to communicate to them through that Wave technology. Now, that is something I personally probably would never use, but there is an application for it, and I think it's revolutionary, and I'm anxious to see it and test it just to see how it works. So let's talk about pairing this to devices. I am a Goldwing rider, and we have Apple CarPlay built into our Honda Goldwings. Some of you Harley riders, BMW riders, Indian riders, you also have Apple CarPlay. Africa Twin has Apple CarPlay, and you are required to have a Bluetooth headset to make that work. So you basically pair this to your motorcycle as if it were a mobile phone. So if you do not ride one of those motorcycles, you would probably pair this to your cell phone, your iPhone or your Android phone, and then you could use that phone to place and receive phone calls, or you could use your phone as a music device to listen to MP3 files or music files, podcasts, things of that nature. So if you have a Honda Goldwing and you're using Apple CarPlay, you would pair this to your motorcycle through the mobile phone pairing setup. As far as the Sena knows, your motorcycle is just a mobile phone. It doesn't know the difference. It's just an audio device. You can also pair this to a second mobile phone, and you can also pair it to a GPS. Now, the way that works through the multitasking built into the Sena environment, you basically, if you got instructions, audio instructions coming in from your GPS while you're riding, say you're listening to music on your mobile phone, and you get GPS instructions from your Garmin GPS, the Sena will mute everything on that mobile phone channel, so it'll mute that audio from the music or the podcast or whatever you're listening, or whatever you're listening to. It's going to mute that so that you can hear those GPS instructions. And then once the GPS instructions have finished, it will raise the volume back up on that channel so that you can hear your music again. It's very intelligent. Same technology they used on the 50S. That works the same way, and it's very, very elegant, and it works very well. Now, if you're a rider passenger, you probably just use Bluetooth intercom for that, because the person sitting right behind you, you really don't need mesh technology unless you're going to be riding in a group of other riders that are going to be a little farther away from you. But the Bluetooth intercom for a rider passenger works wonderful, and it uses up less battery life. So you'll extend your battery life by just leaving mesh turned off and using the Bluetooth communication capability of the 60S. Same's true of the 50S. Now, to use mesh, you basically just deploy the antenna, and then you turn mesh on using this button right here, and you will get a message in the headset that says mesh on. It will let you know that mesh is on and that you are in open mesh or group mesh. They're very good about playing audible prompts inside your helmet to let you know what you've done. To turn it off, you simply press that button again. So what do I think of this new Sena 50S? Well, overall, I'm very impressed. Some of the things they've put into this new unit are what I would consider to be game changers. Some of the things are a little gimmicky and really don't serve much of a purpose other than from a marketing standpoint. For example, the interchangeable faceplates. I'll change out the faceplate. That wouldn't have kept me from buying the unit. I'd have bought it whether it had interchangeable faceplates and jog dials. That to me, that's not that important. But it is a cool feature. It's nice that you can do it. Same thing with the flashlight on the front. To me, it's a little gimmicky. I don't know that I'll ever use it, but I guess it's a nice thing to have. And the last thing is this dynamic LED that kind of runs along the side of the unit. I'm never going to see it. It's going to be on my helmet, so I never see that light. The only light I'm concerned about is this one, and that's usually the only time I use that is when I'm pairing to the motorcycle or to a mobile phone, so because it lets you know you're in pairing mode, and only would really need that if I didn't have it on the helmet where I could actually hear the prompts through the helmet. But there are a lot of things in this 60S that I consider to be huge value, and one is the fact that it's IPX7 rated. It's waterproof now. I think that's a huge value. Now, I will say that I have ridden thousands, tens of thousands of miles on my motorcycle with the 50S in all kinds of weather. A lot of rain, a lot of fog, a lot of damp conditions, and I have never had a 50S fail because of rain. I've just never had it happen. But nevertheless, peace of mind knowing that this new unit is IPX7 rated, and I think it's going to help Sena sell more of these. For those of you that are adventure riders, you ride in the rain a lot. You don't want to have to think about it. You don't want to have to worry about it. You'll know now that this is IPX7 rated. And my favorite feature overall is the magnetic mount. Let me grab my helmet and I'll show you. And you can see here, you just basically get close and it's in. It's very simple. And to take it off, you just pull up on it and it releases. It's got its own USB-C connector on the bottom so that it basically, you just get it close and it's in. The other thing I consider to be a huge value and probably justifies the higher price of the 60S is that it comes with two different helmet mounts. You can actually set up two different helmets with two different microphones, two different sets of speakers, and two different mounts, so that if you have two different helmets, you don't have to buy two models. You can basically just move this from one helmet to the next very, very easily. That to me is a huge value add because it's like you're getting 2 setups for the price of one. Now, if you buy the dual pack, which is $750 retail, I believe it's $400 retail for an individual, $750 for a dual pack. You actually get 4 different helmet mounts and 4 different sets of speakers. I mean, that to me is huge value. Now, Sena claims that this new 60S has AI-based noise cancellation. I have not really put that to the test yet. I'm anxious to see if I can tell a big difference. I don't know what AI means in that context, but that certainly is a value. If it has better noise cancellation than my 50S, like I say, I haven't tested it enough yet to really be able to determine that, but that will be one of the next things I really put to the test. The fact that you can fully charge this unit in 1.5 hours, I think that is a huge value. And another thing that Sena really doesn't talk about as a value thing for this model is that when you turn it on, you get an announcement through the helmet to let you know what your battery level is. I love that because I'm always wondering is my battery low, and the only way with the 50S to know if the battery level's low is once it gets low. Then it will tell you the battery level is low. And oftentimes by then it's too late. Maybe you only have 10 minutes left of communication. I think the user guide is the most well-written user guide that I've seen in a long time for any product. It is very easy to follow. It's very easy to understand. And I think that is a huge value for the Sena 60S. So that's my initial review and assessment of the Sena 60S. Let me know in the comments down below if there's anything else you want to know about this unit. It pairs very nicely to my Goldwing. The few times I've ridden with it, everything seems to work fine. And by the way, if you're interested in the Sena 60S, I am a Sena affiliate, and I'll put a link in the description of this video down below. And if you choose to purchase through my affiliate links, it does help the channel, and that's much appreciated. Thank you for joining me today on Cruiseman's Reviews. And if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and please give it a thumbs up. And I will see you on the next Cruiseman's Reviews. Until then, ride often, but ride safe.